Welcome to In the Loop podcast. I am your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, and I love all things breakaway roping. Welcome back to our third annual 15 Days of Breakaway Roping series. In this series, we talk all things breakaway roping for 15 straight days, y'all. We interview the top 15 in the world that are making the national finals rodeo. We start from number 15 and we go all the way to number 1. We talk all things breakaway roping, rodeo strategy, horses, ropes, you name it, we talk about it. And one thing I love about this year is these girls have evolved. It's raw, it's real, it's uncut, and we are just so thankful to be able to do this. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our partners who make this happen, and to every one of you who is listening. Thank you for listening. If these episodes make a difference, please go and share it with your friends. Help us grow. Y'all, we're able to be here because of our listeners, because of our fans and supporters. And again, I just want you to know, thank you so much. I love doing this. I love podcasting, and I can't hold back any longer. So let's roll right into it. 15 Days of Breakaway, third annual. Here we go. Let's talk some breakaway roping. Okay, guys, so today we are here with number 7, Taylor Money Munsell. We were just talking about how I nicknamed her that, and she said it's fairly fitting. We like to hear Money Munsell behind that. Coming in with $108,457, 91 rodeos. Taylor, what does it feel like to get your third consecutive back number and heading to the South Point this year at Las Vegas?
Oh, it feels really good. I mean, this one was, I can't really say it was different than the other two because I kind of did the same thing. I kind of just couldn't get it together at the beginning of the year, but this year everybody was really like starting to worry about me. They were like, "What are you doing? You have to win money, or you don't make the finals." And I think it was like when we went out to Sisters does a deal where they like showcase everybody that comes to the rodeo, and I was so far down in the standings they didn't even showcase me. I was like 55th, and I was like, "All right, it's time to get it together." And so I'm glad I had a way great end of the year, and it makes me super excited for next year. Hope to gosh I don't have as bad a winter and have as good a summer.
Yeah. Well, and I think something that, I mean, you look at this 108,000 and you're like, what? You had a bad year? Where did that come from? But I think that people, I love how honest that's one thing about all these girls. The 15 Days of Breakaway have been so very honest, and I appreciate that. So talk about that. I mean, people will look at you, they're like, hey, you've made 3 NFRs, you have 108,000. What do you mean you were having a tough year? What do you mean you were 55th? So talk about kind of working through that stage and that slump and how you got momentum going and got the ball to rolling.
Yeah, that's what I've been through a lot this year with the people there's people that realized it at the beginning, but a lot of people don't realize how slow my year was to start. Like the winter rodeos are almost guaranteed money rodeos. Like those are your highest chance to win money and the best paying rodeos pretty much the entire year. And I think I won like 1,800 throughout the winter. It was rough, and for no reason. My horses were all 3 sound. The only time I've ever had that happen. They were all working good. And, I mean, I was lights out the practice pen, and I just could not put a rope around a calf's neck in a rodeo. And it was frustrating, but I do have a pretty good mentality for that kind of stuff because I'm really good at just every calf I miss. At the moment, I may get a little frustrated, but the next calf I run, I tend to tell myself, like, well, you've missed this many in a row. You're surely about to catch one, so why not catch this one? That was my mentality the entire winter, and it definitely was slow. I finally made a really good run at the rodeo in New Mexico right before Woodward and won that rodeo, which kind of set things in motion for me and helped me get it going again. And then winning the hometown rodeo obviously really helped things out. And then shortly after that, I went out to – go ahead.
I was going to say that run, I won't forget it. Her cat's tail's in the video right now that you can't see, right? So Tripod, her 3-legged cat. Just if anybody wants to know, DM Taylor and ask her about her 3-legged cat. But I will never forget. I was sitting on the back of the box. I was watching the Woodward Rodeo, and I had already roped, and I hadn't been to California or any of those rodeos, so I really hadn't seen any of the struggles or anything that was going on, but you smoked that sucker. He was running. He took a hard right and you let him have it. And I just remember the excitement on your face, and just you were pumped, and you should have been, because it was an amazing run in that kind of setup. And then on top of that, hometown rodeo. But that really kind of got your momentum going, and it was a great win to start your summer off. And I mean, another tribute to you, like, yeah, you had 1,800 one, and from May till September, you got 106 plus thousand added to that. So pretty dang awesome. I think that goes to debunk the myth that you have to have a good winner to make the finals, because that is so not true. You and Shelby Bosley, Shelby Medjid proved that wrong this year for sure. And so I think that there's one, we put so much emphasis on these winter rodeos because they're so good and they're such great opportunity, but also they always don't tell the tale. Everybody wants to have a great winter because it does set you up for the summer, but man, it doesn't tell the tale, and it didn't for you. And then you were really taking off and you were rolling after Woodward.
Yeah. The run at Woodward was kind of a full blast mode. I don't think you could have, not to brag much, but I don't know that you could make a better run in that setup. I just happened to draw a strong calf. I think he was terrible at the jackpot outrunning people, so I already knew that going into it. I knew he stepped right, and I was like, it's blast or nothing. Because, I mean, in the breakaway, all the rodeos are so tough. You don't always just get to make smart runs. And that is another thing that makes slumps hard in rodeo or breakaway wise, is because you don't ever get to just go catch one and win a small check. They don't let you do that very often. At the one headers, especially. Yeah, no, not at all. Especially at the one headers. And then that just went out to Sisters, won some money, and then it was just kind of, that was like, oh, you can do this. It's okay. And then we got to the average rodeos, and that was kind of the thing that really helped me out, was the average rodeos. Riding my sorrel horse, he's a great average rodeo horse, and then it did good at Greeley and Reno, and then obviously Calgary and the NFR Open. A lot of my money was won on the 3-head average, 4-head average, and then I guess Calgary was a 1-head in the short round. But
well, Calgary, that was another one that stuck out to me for you, was nothing really special happened at Calgary. Like, you were consistent, and you were, I think, a 3 both times. Is that what you were at Calgary?
Yeah, I was like a 2-9 and a
3 or 4.
3 something, and then in the was it like an 8-man round, I think, or something? And I was like 4-5. Like, I really seemed like
your calf ran really hard and down off to the left, and you just went down there and you made a great run on your yellow horse. And so I thought that was such a neat win, because it was a tough setup at Calgary, which they all are. I mean, they're all tough because you have 20 to 200 of the best girls right behind you fixing to run them.
Yeah.
And the calves were strong there, and it was a really, really cool atmosphere. We didn't have a whole lot of time. We all pretty much pulled in and unloaded and saddled and went and roped, and then we loaded back up and headed back south. But it was really a neat I went to the next one. It was a really neat experience, but I loved how that format was set up, because it allowed you to continue to advance. You didn't have the best calves, you didn't have the best chances, but you kept advancing, and then you walk away with the first ever Calgary Stampede breakaway roping buckle. So talk about that win. I mean, that had to be a really cool moment to know that first ever you're getting that buckle, and you advanced in that final round and you capitalized on it.
That deal was super cool, and it was super fast. Like, I barely got to know what calf I was running before that 4-man round, and they didn't even let me get down there. I'd left my baby powder down there on that end, but they wouldn't let me go back down there to get it because they wanted us to ride up the arena and announce us. And then as soon as they announced us, they wouldn't let me grab my baby powder and put it in my hand. They're like, nope, get in the box now, running now, nod your head. And they're yelling at me to nod my head before they even call my name. But yeah, those setups definitely benefit me, because I feel like I'm pretty good at thinking through them and using my horses. And my horses, obviously, Ray did outstanding there, because we went kind of fast, and then we went a long ways down the arena on one that literally was running so hard, and he actually ducked left. Like as soon as I roped him, he ducked left and ran all the way around the arena and around me before he went out the out gate, before I could even like turn around and find the calf. He was just doing hot laps out there. And then they put a softer pin of calves in there for the 4-man round, and I was like, well, this is money for Ray. We're either breaking the barrier or winning first. And he was lights out, made a great run, threw the perfect calf, and it just all kind of worked out. And it was super awesome. And obviously the money there helped a bunch.
Yeah.
Especially that stressful time of the week, like you said. We were at Salt Lake, drove all night to Calgary, drove all night back to barely make it to Sheridan, to drive all night to Colorado Springs. So it definitely helps to set that week up going good. And Salt Lake wasn't super good to me, which was one that you really wanted to do good at.
Week. Yeah, it was a jam-packed week. And that seems like a lot of the weeks out there. You know, there's not just a whole lot of time. I think everybody talks a lot about the 4th of July, but there's really not a whole lot of time after the 4th of July that's not like the 4th of July. I mean, every week is pretty stacked and you're going somewhere. And so it's really, really hectic out there.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy hectic every week and trying to draw up right and get horses where you needed them to go. Like Ray went from Calgary to Salinas in a week, less than a week. And it's
just a few
chaotic.
miles. I mean, it's not really a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely chaotic. I was very glad at the end to be sitting good enough to go to one rodeo a week there for a couple weeks at the end.
Well, and I really want to touch on your horsepower. It is so neat to see. I mean, you have a string of them, like you said. For once, they were all sound. You know, you're still battling through some of that stuff with Monster right now. Hopefully, he'll come back for these winter rodeos. But Ray, Colonel, I mean, Ray, you and your traveling partner Sam Fulton both won money on Salinas on that one horse back to back. Literally, you spun him around. She got on him. She roped on him. I mean, y'all both made the short round. Several times this year, your horses just showed up and showed out and gave you those opportunities. Talk about what it's like when you get to back in the box and know that you have half the battle won because you get to ride horses like that.
Yeah, I have to give hats off to my horses, Monster and Ray. It's crazy to think about because those two have been together since they were a yearling and a 2-year-old. And the first 2 breakaway horses I ever started. And it just happens to be the 2 horses that's made the name for me and carried me pretty much everywhere. Colonel was the addition that I needed, and I'm super glad that he was sent to me to ride. And then it worked out for me to figure out how to get him bought because after 6 months, I knew I didn't want to watch somebody else beat me on him. So I knew I needed to own him. And then they definitely... Monster is lights out every time I ride him. I mean, it don't matter where I ride him. I can be 1-6 on him, and the next calf I can run down and not have no doubt in my mind that he's going to score like I need him to, and he's going to run. And then Ray is the same way. Like, I know him by the back of my hand. Like, I know how he warms up that day, what he's going to be like, and he may not be flashy, but he's a winner. And I think that's super important in rodeo. Is not always the flashy ones aren't always the easiest ones to win on.
Right.
And then Colonel, he really challenges me because he is a little more flashy. He's a lot stronger. He is a lot more of a sit still, score, ride your horse across the line, ride him to the calf and get him roped. Than Monster and Ray. I can nod and go and float and drop my hand and throw my rope and pull again or whatever. And those two just kind of are autopilot because they're ones I trained from the beginning. And then Colonel, he's so strong that if I get caught pulling on him, I'm out the back of the saddle. So it's been good for my riding, though, figuring them all out, figuring out how to get that horse rode out of the box because he definitely takes it to the next level on the longer scores, the stronger cattle. And I'm excited with the calves we're roping this year at the NFR to be getting to ride him there. I feel like he's going to be great.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to stand out there. I was talking to Martha about that a little bit earlier and just the strong calves that you guys are going to see. Hopefully they stay the same, that we roped them over there in Ponder and you guys are getting to take those to the South Point. But they're a strong set of calves. And I think horsepower is really going to play a big key this year at the finals. And I'm excited to see the ones that step up and step to the plate and get those calves caught. Yeah,
I'm super excited, a little more excited now. I mean, obviously, we've been crossing our fingers for 3 months now that Monster was going to be back, because Monster just rocked that setup last year and was awesome. And then I heard the calves are going to be softer this year, and I was like, oh, that's really not going to benefit me riding Colonel. But I think I really like the way the calves look, and if the good thing is if I do draw a soft one, I have the perfect horse for that too. Ray's great at the short setup, fast start, fast goes, and he's good at it, but he also is honest about it. So I feel like I'm pretty good on both ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, I think so. And just to back in the box, having that confidence, knowing your horses, I think that's something we've heard over and over again that really everybody kind of holds tight to and trusts in. And so I think that makes it such a big difference. Talk about your rodeos. You've been out there, you've been doing this for the last 4 years. You're a veteran. This is your third consecutive NFR, so you are old. What do you think you've seen change and evolve over the past 4 years in breakaway roping, other than, more rodeos and things like that? Like, what about the sport have you seen that's really changed that stuck out to you?
Oh, I mean, a ton. If you go for me, it's really easy to think about because you go 6 years, because the first ever actual breakaway jackpot I entered was 6 years ago. It was the BFI, and that was basically the biggest thing you could enter, and that's the year I won it after the college finals. Biggest thing you could enter, no pro rodeos. And then it was just I just jumped on this wave, and it was just picking up right there. And then the next year it was the American and everything, and then kind of went back down. And then all of a sudden they give us a few pro rodeos to enter, and then just went ahead and decided to go off with it. And it's grown so much, so fast. And I think up close, it's hard to see that. But for me, it's really easy to see because I can tell everybody, I'm not a front runner. I just rode the wave of it, what everybody else was already doing. But something I was talking about the other day that's changed a lot is people are figuring out how to rodeo now. So whereas we used to all be rookies, the first 2 years I felt like we were all running around with chickens with our head cut off, no idea what we were doing. And now you have the actual veterans and then the rookies, and it's getting to be a pretty cool dynamic of people helping each other and the way it all works out. And then also, like I was saying, it's cool to see is when we first started rodeoing, I didn't see any breakaway ropers that worked out or got together and cooked and did all these things that the bulldoggers and stuff do. And now it's crazy. Every breakaway roper almost that I talk to are doing some form of working out and doing what it takes to take care of your body, which is awesome. Because I feel before we didn't really have to do it. Now that we're rodeoing, we realize that we do have to take care of our body and treat it like it's we're a professional athlete. And I really enjoy that part of it and get to see all the workout with different people and see all the different ways people take care of themselves out there.
Talk a little bit about that and dive in to what that looks like for you. I think that's so key. And I think you can even go back and look out at pictures and just see how everybody's evolved in their strength, their fitness, and all the things. Everybody's getting stronger. We want to be healthier and all these things. So what does that look like for you? And what are some of the key tools that have helped you get through some of that stuff?
Yeah, I've always been real interested in that side of things for a long time. I got a master's in health and sports science, and so I kind of knew what I was doing. Right when I started, I had the major shoulder surgery, reconstructed it, and they told me that if I didn't take care of it, that I would just be in the same boat again in a couple of years and not able to rope. So I take it pretty serious, and I did the wrong thing. I come back, I started roping too fast. I didn't take care of it. I made it way worse. And then I really figured out all the things that worked for me. Work out regularly. When I was in college, I trained twice a day with the football strengthening coach. He kind of took me under his wing. It was just saw it as a challenge and enjoyed helping me. So we did 2-a-days working out with him. And then I kind of did that for a while. And then I worked out with some other people, figured out what workouts worked for me. And then the biggest thing is I do the sports massages, the getting chiropractic, all the therapies, physical therapist every time I'm home I go see that helps work on me. I've got a real great line of people that all help work on me that understand. And then I started getting into the mobility and stability training this summer with the championship living team. Natasha's my coach, and I feel like that's helped me a bunch because I can still strength train in between, but strength training while you're rodeoing on the road, like we go like a week and don't even hardly get out of the truck, and then the next week I just like spend 2 hours a day in the gym and I'm so sore I can't walk, and then I sit in the truck for another week. Wasn't the greatest
that works
approach.
out great.
So it wasn't the greatest approach. So I was getting with her has helped a bunch. The crazy, like the difference I've noticed in just like my balance and my core and stuff, and like I've always worked on that, but not to the level and some of the things that she has me doing that I would have just never thought of on my own. And it's fun. Like Jackie, she works with a different trainer from a different program, so I'll do her workouts with her and just kind of, I will work out with the Bulldoggers. Bren used to play football. I went and worked out with him. He almost killed me. But it's fun. I enjoy that side of it. And I think my hauling partners are all working out now, Sam and stuff, and they've gotten into it enough where they have their own ways. So like I can work out with them and just get a different taste of it. So it never gets boring.
Right.
And it gives us something
I think,
to do while we're out there.
It does give us something to do because we do have a lot of downtime, but we also have a lot of truck time. So it's like downtime, truck time, roping, that, in between.
Yeah.
But I will say too, Champion Living has made a huge difference. And when I first started doing that, I was like, mobility, really? Like, is this really going to, and now you probably will see me when you pass me at the gas station over there doing my stretches and doing some mobility. And I'm like, can actually get out of the truck and walk, because if I don't do it now, I can't walk. Thank you, Doug Champion.
Yeah.
So it's been crucial, but I think it's so fun, like you said, to try other people's stuff and do it with them. And that's been something I really found helpful. I had a couple girls that I did some things with too. And it's good to have somebody hold you accountable. And it's like, I guess just because we're so competitive, it's like, I wanted to make sure and get it done. And I was like, I'm going to get it done before they get it done, even though I wanted to get them to get it done, but I'm still going to try to beat them. You know what I mean? And so I think it just kind of helps you hold each other accountable.
It's definitely changed my mindset, because the first year I was like, I couldn't, like, everybody just thought I was crazy to go to, I'd be like, they're like, hey, you want to go eat lunch? I'm like, no, I need to go to the gym first or I won't go. Like, I just know myself. And they're like, you're going to go to the gym? We have a day off. And I was like, exactly why I'm going to the gym. And like, so used to, I felt like I was like superior because I was the only one I knew of doing it. And now everybody does it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough. I got to do more. And now it definitely helps, I think, us all push each other, because we all obviously want each other to be good, but we all also want to be the best. So I do think it's good and it's fun. And I'm glad to see it growing in the breakaway world like that, and see people, you just hear people doing so much to take care of themselves now. And I'm glad to see us like treating ourselves like the professional athletes we are, because our event is very fast paced, but it is tough on us, and the hauling is so tough on us.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think it's exciting to see. And one thing I would just want to retouch on that you highlighted is taking care of our bodies as the professional athletes that we are, because that's what we are, and it's not, it's not just a hobby anymore. It's not like, oh, I hope it can be a career. It's here, girls, we're doing it. And it's those little things that make a difference each and every day. Like you said, of, hey, I know if I don't go to the gym right now, I'm not going to do it. And then it's like, okay, did you give yourself, 45 minutes or an hour to help your body and get yourself further? Or did you take 2 hours and eat the whole basket of rolls, Jordan? And so, it just kind of depends on which way you look at it. But I think that making those tough decisions, especially for me too, I've seen a huge difference in it. And man, it's a challenge for me out there to feel good, because I like being outside in the sunlight and moving and all the things. And when you're trapped in a truck, it's like, man, that's something I've really started to look forward to, is going and working out and getting some body movement. So that's helped a ton.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's crazy how much better my mood is and stuff. And I can just get away. And like, if I'm really stressed, to just go put headphones in, I don't have to talk to anybody. That's like a solid no, not answering my phone, not doing anything. And then by the time I work out, I'm stress-free. I'm no longer
you're stress-free and your headphones are out
or stressed about anything. Yeah. So if my headphones are in, even if you talk to me and I can't hear you, I'll pretend I can't. Not really, but I do that sometimes. So just pretend I can't hear through them. I'm just like, yeah.
I'm going to have to call Sam Fulton and ask her, she's your traveling partner, how the headphone approach goes for her. Talk a little bit
She wears
about
headphones more often than I do.
talk about Sam and getting to travel with her again this year. You guys had a great NFR together last year. It was so cool to see you guys both in the same rig and just kicking butt. You know, it was just like you were swapping round wins last year. Really cool. Sam was really close. It was a fight till the very end. Her and Aaron made it it was crucial. I think $70 is what Aaron got in by. So really cool to see.
Yeah.
But a bummer for her too. But you know what? I mean, she's going to be back. She's going to be back next year, and we're going to go at it again. So, talk about her and your boyfriend Dalton. We were joking about him earlier. You know, we call him Dalton Munsell's boyfriend, but really he's Dalton the Tripper or Dalton Munsell's boyfriend. But on the flip side of that, it's Taylor Dalton's boyfriend or girlfriend, excuse me, when he's tripping. So girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call him. So talk a little bit about Dalton and Sam and what it's like getting to rodeo with them too and travel all over the world.
Yeah, me and Sam, this is our third year hauling. Last year was our third year hauling together, and I think your hauling partner is crucial. I think it's a huge, huge deal. I've luckily mostly only hauled with Sam and a couple other girls I really get along with, but not like if you don't get along with your hauling partner, that is so hard on your mentality. And Sam and me both are, I feel like, really good about like we're maybe not just as happy when the other one's winning and you're not, but pretty close. Like we're still thrilled. Whoever's winning's buying the other one's dinner, so there's always a bonus upside to it no matter what. But yeah, I can't really ask for a better hauling partner than Sam. And last year at the finals was obviously so much fun. And they battled it out this year. I don't even know, like Sam won like 2 of the last 3 rodeos of the year or something. I mean, she did the thing, and it was a tough fought out battle till the very end. And it was super stressful for me. I was in Sioux Falls, like not even just refreshing looking, because none of those rodeos were on the Cowboy Channel or nothing. So I was just refreshing the deal to see if they had updated the results nonstop. And it was, it was a bummer she didn't get in, but it was still a tough fought battle and good for Aaron. And then I feel like it's going to just drive the fire for next year, or this year. I guess it's already this year.
It is, yep.
And I'm excited to do it again. And then, Dalton, Trippin doesn't really line up with the Breakaway very often, but he definitely was doing his fair share of driving my rig around and meet me with it and hauling horses around. And towards the end of the year, we got to go some together, which was good. Even like at Lubbock, when we got to go together, it's like we drove over there for me Tuesday and then drove back over there for him Friday, and then we're going to have to drive back over there for me Saturday night. But it's always fun getting to go with people that you enjoy going with. And same thing, it was he had a tough end of the year, was making the finals all the way up to the last week of the season. But sometimes things just don't work out like you hope. But I've seen the fire that's in him for next year, so that's exciting to watch. And I'm super excited. Hopefully we're all 3 at the finals next year is the plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to see that. And I know that it is, I think that we take it as a defeat, but honestly, it's not. I mean, yes, obviously we want to be there. We all have the same end goal, but I think it's too part of the journey. And if you take it that way, I really don't think you can keep anybody down. Because, it starts all over. Everybody starts at 0 October 1st, and we're rolling and hot again. And so, it's part of the process and not one that everybody really likes or looks up to, but I think it makes a big difference in a lot of outcomes. So, not something we love, not something we hate, just part of rodeo, and we're learning how to deal with it.
Yeah, I think everybody, always looking at yourself, if it's you on the outside, you're like, I should have done better, could have done better, didn't do that good. And then from the outside, everybody's like, you're 16th, 17th, even like top 30 in the world, Yeah. And I still think that sometimes we get a little narrow-sighted on what we're actually doing and the fact of what we actually do. Like if you really think about what we do, we ride a large animal, chasing a small animal, and throw a rope as far as we can and hope it goes around the neck clean. and we don't fall off.
That's a great analogy.
And we hope
it's
that,
very true.
I mean, and you just hope that the guy that's flagging doesn't get caught watching you almost fall off instead of flagging you. And, it's just, it's crazy. When you really think about it and break it down, it really is crazy to think about.
It is. And
it brings you a little,
that's
it brings a little bit of laughter to it. That's what I always tell girls when they come to my clinic. I'm like, don't get frustrated. Think about what you're doing. This is like, think about somebody that doesn't have any idea what they're doing coming and trying to do this. And then tell me you aren't good at it.
Give them a little water boy analogy when they're imagining the other team.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that too. I think it's so crucial to keep a perspective like that, because it is easy to get caught up in a hurry. And when you keep a perspective like that, it's like Chris Morrow told me one time, you're roping a small farm animal in an enclosed pen for money. Like, that's all you're doing. And he said it's a manicured pen. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, fine. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool to have that perspective.
We're not actually having to catch them and doctor them for our livelihood anymore. So yeah, we just catch them.
Well, I mean,
catch and release.
We did do that at the NFBR finals. We just didn't have any medicine, but
we did do that.
We did doctor them things. Yeah.
They would have got doctored. They for sure would have got doctored if they needed doctored. I don't think any of them needed doctored. Not the ones I drew.
I think they were fully prepared and ready to attack. Yeah, they were fine.
They maybe weren't men eaters, but they were woman eaters. That's for sure.
Yeah, they were. Some of them were very feisty woman eaters. So let's talk about the NFR, gearing up again. You've been there last year. You had a great NFR, won a ton of money. It seems like Vegas loves you. That's why I kept calling you Money Munsell. I mean, it just rings. It rolls off the tongue. You're coming in with lucky number 7 this year. 7 is my favorite number. So I am very jealous that you got that back number, but way cool. So talk about how you're preparing for the NFR and what that looks like for you as far as different situations, scenarios, equipment preparation, all the things.
Honestly, like, we like to think that it changes, but I try not to change it too much because it is another rodeo. My mentality changes a little bit because it's a 5 head a day type setup and it's super fast. Right now I've just been working on, when we're rodeoing the breakaway so fast, and I have a tendency to catch myself getting into some bad habits, which everybody's seen, like I throw across my body and stuff, and sometimes I get a little over aggressive with my follow through. And just like I said, I like to float a horse, so I get really bad about floating a horse and not getting them rode out of the box. And I've tried to step back and fix all these little issues, not necessarily fix them because I don't want to change anything beforehand, but go back to making myself do things with intention right now. And then that's what, like, I like entering the tie down at the WPRA finals because it makes me ride my horse instead of run up. And for some reason, the only way I can actually really make myself think about it and do it is if I put a string in my mouth and make myself go down there and tie the calf. So I just have to enter every year so I can make myself ride my horse again. But this week we'll really hammer in on the practicing. All my horses got gone over and injected yesterday, so they get the week off. And then right after Thanksgiving, I'll go out to Arizona and rope with in the nice weather out there for a week with Sam and them. And I feel like my good horses are pretty well set and ready. I'll run some. Ray doesn't need anything. He will probably get like long trotted. The less kevs I run on him, the better he works. And Colonel will just be. I'll run a few on him a week, but I try not to like go to running a million on my good horses when they're not used to it, and then expecting them to not be sore when they get out there and stuff. So not a whole lot's changed. Try to go to the gym every day, which it's pretty easy to talk yourself into doing it when you're coming into something as big as this. And I just try to have myself and my horses prepared and feel ready when I get there.
I love it. And I think too, I think one of the most consistent things I've heard everybody talk about is they're not really changing anything. Like, it's the same as we do each and every day. And I think that that's really cool to see is it's a mini NFR each and every day we back in the box. Like it's really not anything different.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there might be some different rodeos or things like that, but honestly, it's not any different than what we do every day. And I think that's really cool to see and see our sport and how far it's come and grown and just the competitiveness that we get to rope with all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote that. I think it's like a same thing with we get a little narrow sided, but we rodeoed all year for this. This is what we worked all year for, practiced all year for. So I feel like everybody that made the finals is ready when they make the finals.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to just keep your mind there.
What are you going to dress Dalton up like for the back number ceremony? Like, are you guys going to be matching?
No, he won't be there this year. He's he's going to work through my finals. He's not going to be there to braid my horse's tail.
What a terrible boyfriend.
That was my lucky deal last year. He had to braid my horse's
boyfriend of the year
for me last year. I know. That's why he raked. I think that's why he raked the box for every 168 breakaway ropers of the WPRA finals. It's because he felt bad about not being at the NFR.
Well, I'm sad he's not going to be there because now I can't give him a hard time about being back there and helping you ready.
I know, and he wasn't even going to have to deal with Monster this year. He's going to have the easy horses to deal with. But
well, holler if you need me. I'll be back there. I can help you braid tails or whatever you need.
Thanks.
What about rope strategy? Talk a little bit about that. Everybody has been a little bit different in the way they like to break in their ropes, what kind of ropes they like to use. Talk about the ropes that you're using, what you've got in your bag, and how you get them ready to head to Vegas.
I use the Vipers 9.5s. I'm just getting strong enough now that I can use a 9.5. Last year was the first year I started using 9.5s. After my shoulder surgery. I was using a little bit of kid ropes before that, but my main deal is I ordered my ropes. I probably got them in like a month and a half ago, and I just climate controlled, sitting, laid out, and that's all until the week before, and then I'll get them all out. I'll swing them, put the swing in them I want, put the kick in them I want, and the ones I like. It depends how they feel. I do a little different with all of them, but cut them if they feel like they need stretch. Before I tie a knot in them, I'll stretch them. Usually before the NFR, I usually don't get weird about like roping a calf with a brand new rope, but before the NFR, I'll go to a jackpot in Arizona and I'll run one calf with every rope. And then I'll just write on the eyes. I write a money sign on the eyes of all the ones I'm going to use at the NFR. So I know which ones to pull out. And then that's Munsell. Pretty much all I do. Yep. Yep. I keep them in a rope bag. I feel like they do better in a rope bag coiled up big than they do in a rope can. But I also keep some in a rope can that if the ones in the rope bag don't feel good, I'll swing that one. So I'm just kind of all over the place.
Just a little bit of options, and I think that's good. Talk a little bit about rope bags. You know, I think we've seen a lot more of those this year. I am so glad that we have evolved back to a rope bag because I was an old team roper, and so that's just so much easier for me. But I have my rope bag I carry around like a little kid going to school every day. Got my backpack, my rope bag. Talk about the different feel and how and why you think those ropes feel different in a rope bag versus a can.
I feel like in the rope can, like it's extremes. Like when it's cold, and when it's hot, it's hot. And when it's humid, it's really humid inside those rope cans. And I found myself with the rope can, I never left the ropes in them. Like every time I got somewhere, I pulled them out, swung them, coiled them up big, and usually laid them out where they could lay out and breathe. Like I just didn't necessarily always like them in the rope can. Like I said, I'll have one that it just feels like I don't like it, I'll put it in a rope can, and I may pull it out a month later, and it may feel great. Like at Greeley, I used one out of a rope can for whatever reason. I don't know, but it felt good. And the rope bag, I feel like, is it's a little more breathable, a little more climate controlled. I don't feel like it gets as hot or as cold, which I don't use a black rope bag, so it's not gathering as much heat as a black one would be, but I feel like it's a lot easier. I can just throw it in the shade, and it cools off super fast. And they have those rope bag heaters, so I can throw that in there if I need that. I feel like the ropes we use now do a lot better in a rope bag because we can coil them up bigger. I mean, as breakaway ropers, we use a lot bigger. We have a lot less from our hand to our saddle horn, and like it's just different. Breakaway is becoming its own event with its own tactics instead of just being the calf roping version of, or girls' calf roping version.
Yeah. And I love that you said its own tactics. I mean, that's so true, you know, and I think we're starting to adapt to a lot of new ways and new things that work for us and for our ropes, for our styles that actually benefit us. And we're learning as we go. And so it's kind of a mix between the calf ropers and the team ropers and bringing that into what works best for breakaway ropers. So it's kind of neat to see. And I also use a rope bag, so that's why I was curious on what your thoughts were on it. But I think it makes a big difference. So, and then when you can have your Regulator Pro in there and you find a plug, you know, me and Hope T, we fought over several plugs this year, but I won. And you plug it in and get to warm up your rope bag and keep your rope as climate controlled as you can. I think it makes a big difference. So pretty thankful for that.
Yeah, I think those are a great benefit to our sport and like the ropes, the type of ropes we're using. Those are a simple thing you can do to benefit you. And if you don't know, I mean, it's easy to find a rope bag. And like I said, you put a couple ropes in each one and you just see which one feels best and figure out what you.
Yep, I agree 100%. Okay, y'all. So it turns out winter is here. It's that time of year again. And yet we are still breakaway roping. So what do you do to try to keep your ropes feeling as consistent as you possibly can? You put the Regulator Pro in your rope bag or your rope can. What is it? It is a heated pad that you can stick in your rope bag. You can stick it in your rope can. You plug it in to a cigarette lighter, to a wall plug, and your ropes feel amazing in the wintertime. I love it. I have one in all of my rope bags, in all of my rope cans. I take it with me everywhere, and it keeps your ropes feeling as consistent as possible. So if you want to get one today, check out the website, regulatorpro.com, and you can use my code JordanJoe to save 10%. It is one of the best $100 investments that you will ever make to get ready to be successful and set yourself up the next time you back in the box. Now, speaking of that, let's get back to some breakaway rope and talk. Let's talk a little bit about Pro Fantasy Rodeo. You are a veteran, so you have played this game several times. You got to pick a team. They've been behind Breakaway, and they continue to support and help us grow our sport. What's your favorite thing about the Breakaway games?
I really enjoy it. The Breakaway, I feel like, is such a chaotic thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's way easier to pick the guys, which it's maybe because like I've known a lot, like you've seen the guys rodeo in that same arena and stuff for so much longer. But in the Breakaway, I feel like it is just such a toss-up, and it makes things really interesting. I did it last year, and I think I picked wrong like every round. But it is it's a super cool deal, and like they've always fully supported the Breakaway, which I think is awesome. I just got my hat in the mail when I got home, and like the first year I didn't even know anything about it or that they were doing it, and they just kind of took us in, and it's really cool to be like not guessing, just fully a part of it.
I agree, and I think that not guessing is the biggest thing, and that's one thing that I think that we are becoming more and more sure of is we are starting to earn our place, and people are acknowledging us as an event. You know, we're not a mandatory event in any of these things. We are an add-on right now, and as we work towards becoming a mandatory event, I think it's really crucial to just support all those people who support us, and we're thankful for them because they do that.
Yes. It's really cool to see like the backing that we have now from specs and rodeo committees and people like the Pro Fantasy and stuff. It makes you feel really good about what we've been doing and what we're fighting for.
Yep, 100%. Okay, final question to wrap this up and get you on your way to number 7 Money Munsell in the Vegas South Point Arena. If future Taylor had to give current Taylor advice, like say 2026 Taylor, what does she say to you now?
Oh boy, that's a deep one. It's not that big. I think would probably be it. That's what I tend to have to remind myself, especially throughout the middle of the summer, is just that it's not that big. I mean, obviously, that's what we work for all year, is to make the finals, and it's obviously a true blessing, and I'm super thankful for making it, but it's not what determines me or nothing. My big deal on wanting to start rodeoing and get good at Breakaway was that I wanted to help other people, and I'm super blessed that I've gotten to a platform where I can do that. And third year rodeo, and I'm starting to figure that out and be a little better about seeing that.
Well, I love that. And I think that it's a very humbling sport. And I think to have that place of foundation and gravity to come back down to, and just know, I love how you said it doesn't define you. And I think that that's something that is easy to get caught up in, and really just appreciate those who, just like, you know, these professional athletes like yourself, these girls that are looking up to you, and you are making a difference. You are helping them, and them knowing that you know, one thing I love about you is you do what you say. Your actions align with your words. And that's what makes a big difference to people, is your actions. And so when you show up and, you know, just like you were in the slump earlier, and now you're 108,000 on the way, like you didn't change. You know, you were Taylor all the way through and through. And I think that speaks volumes about you as a person in and out of the arena. And that's why you are able to help people. And so very excited for you for your third consecutive NFBR qualification. And I can't wait to watch your Open Vegas. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, Taylor.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.